Hi, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Our devotion for today, June 30th, 2022, is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 13 through 21. Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a desolate place by himself. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. Now, when it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place, and the day is now over. Send the crowds away to go into the villages and buy food for themselves." But Jesus said, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "We have only 5 loaves here and 2 fish." And he said, "Bring them here to me." And when he ordered the crowd to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and then the 2 fish, he looked up into heaven, and he said a blessing. And he broke the loaves, and he gave them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up 12 baskets full of the pieces left over. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. In our devotion for today, Jesus has learned that John the Baptizer has been beheaded by King Herod Antipas, and most likely in his grief leaves the place where he heard the news. He travels by boat to a desolate place, most likely to be alone in his own grief. But the crowds hear the news too, and they watch where Jesus goes in the boat, and they follow him on foot along the shoreline. When Jesus reaches the shore at what is supposed to be a desolate place, he finds that it is not. A great crowd, 5,000 men, not counting women and children, is there to meet him. Jesus has compassion on them, and so he puts aside his grief to help them and to heal their sick. When evening comes, the disciples tell Jesus to send the crowd away so the crowd can find some food in the villages. Jesus tells his disciples there is no need to send them away, and he charges his disciples to feed the crowd. The disciples don't know what to do. They only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish in their possession for food. Not enough for a crowd this size. In what is probably a tone of frustration, Jesus tells his disciples to give him the food, and then he blesses it. And they distribute the food, and all the crowd eats and are satisfied. They even collect up the leftovers and fill 12 baskets. What we're to learn from this story is that with the Lord all things are possible, even as all things are not possible with humans. The Lord is able to turn a meager meal of 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish into a feast that fills 5,000 men, not counting women and children. But of this, we should learn to trust that the Lord is able to provide for all of our needs, even when it looks like we have almost nothing at all. In addition, the Lord will provide for us in abundance, meaning that we will have more than we need when he does provide for us. We need to look at our situations and our problems and our challenges, no matter how impossible they may seem, with an attitude focused on the possibility of what God might do, rather than on the certainty of what we cannot do. Go in peace, serve the Lord.